Hello, ladies and gentlemen, listen carefully. There's something I've learned from this strange, unpredictable life, from the spotlight to silence, from applause to absolute doubt, and it's this. If the world outside begins to collapse, you better pray the world inside is built like a fortress of steel, because when nations shake, when systems crumble, when people run wild in chaos, only those who are internally unshakable survive with dignity. And I don't mean just breathing, I mean living. Fully without losing your humanity, we spend our lives preparing for things that don't even matter, buying things to impress people who don't care, running in races we never signed up for. But when everything burns, when the structure, the system, the illusion falls apart, what will you fall back on? Your title, your money, your followers, they'll vanish faster than smoke in a storm. What remains is you, the raw, stripped-down version of you, and if that version is hollow, weak, fearful, if that version is a slave to panic, then no government, no shelter, no army can protect you. Listen to me carefully. You have to build yourself like a warrior monk in a battlefield of madness. You have to train your mind to be calm when the world screams. You have to anchor your soul so deep, not even the loudest lie can shake it. This is not philosophy, this is survival. Do you know what real power is? It's not in the noise you make, it's in the silence you control. It's when you walk into a room full of fear and bring peace. It's when others are waiting for orders and you, without shouting, become the compass. The silent force, that's real power. That's the inner fortress I'm talking about. You don't build it overnight. You build it moment by moment, by embracing discomfort, by facing truth, however ugly it is. By not running away from pain, by not lying to yourself just to feel better, because comfort is an illusion they sold us to keep us weak. Chaos, ironically, creates clarity. You see, the world is addicted to drama. But if you want to be free in unstable times, you have to detox from that addiction. Let people scream, panic, rage. You breathe, you observe, you think, you feel, but you're not controlled by those feelings. Because you know, deep inside, storms don't last, but the ones who remain grounded through them are the ones who rebuild the world. It's not about becoming cold or emotionless, it's about becoming awake. Awake to your patterns, awake to how fear controls you, awake to how people try to infect you with their madness. The greatest defense in times of insanity is not violence, it is awareness, ruthless, precise awareness. Of your thoughts, your actions, your breath. That's your sword, that's your shield, that's how you survive. And not just survive, but lead. People will run to illusions, false hope, cheap leaders, fake safety. You don't run, you stand, and not with arrogance, but with purpose, not to dominate, but to guide. Because when your inner world is stable, you don't contribute to panic, you dissolve it. I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to wake you. The time to train your spirit is not after the storm hits. It's now. Every moment you choose to think clearly instead of react blindly. You are building your fortress. Every time you stay silent instead of fueling gossip, you're reinforcing the walls. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you're arming yourself with strength no army can take away. And yes, it's lonely, it's brutal, it's hard, but you know what? It's worth it. Because you'll become the kind of person who doesn't need saving. You become the savior. Not of the world, but of the people near you, your family, your friends, the ones who forgot how strong they were. This is not the time to crumble. This is the time to remember who you are, not the actor. Not the title, not the label, but the soul that was born with nothing and still burned with light. Pain will come, fear will rise, but if you've trained yourself, really trained, you won't flinch, you'll smile and say, I've met worse demons in my own mind. This is just noise. You will still cry, you will still bleed, but you won't break, because you've already died 1,000 ego deaths in silence and come back stronger. You know what it is to lose and still love, to fall and still rise, to be forgotten by the world and still forgive it, and that, my friends, is what makes you dangerous in the best possible way. Not because you hurt, but because you heal, not because you intimidate, but because you inspire. So build that fortress, brick by brick, with discipline, with brutal honesty, with insane amounts of patience, because the world might go dark. But you will be the one holding the match. You are not here to be afraid of the fire. You are here to become it. Fear is not your enemy. It's your alarm clock. It doesn't come to paralyze you. It comes to prepare you. But we live in a world that teaches us to silence fear, hide it, cover it with fake smiles, scroll it away, drink it away, sleep it away. And in doing that, we miss the greatest teacher we've ever had. Fear is not weakness, denial is. When the world trembles, when economies collapse, when people fight in grocery stores and scream on streets, fear shows up like a storm in your chest. And that's not a flaw, that's your instinct waking up. That's your body saying, get ready, something's coming. But what do most people do? They freeze, or they run, or worse. They pretend nothing's wrong. Listen, pretending you're fearless isn't bravery, it's suicide dressed as confidence. The people who survive, thrive. When the earth shakes aren't the ones who feel no fear, they're the ones who use it. They listen to it, they say, thank you for the warning, and then they move strategically, quietly, with awareness like a soldier in enemy territory. The greatest generals in history didn't win by being loud. They won by reading the signs, they turned uncertainty into strategy, and they used fear as a signal, not a sentence. You want to be unstoppable, you want to protect yourself, your family, your soul, then stop numbing fear. Start decoding it. Ask it questions. What is it telling you? What is it showing you? Not about the world, but about you. Because the truth is, most people aren't afraid of the world. They're afraid they don't have what it takes to face it. They're afraid they'll be exposed as unprepared, soft, vulnerable. And so, instead of preparing, they pretend. Instead of transforming, they distract. And when the real crisis comes, they crumble. Not because the world is hard, but because they never sharpened themselves to handle it. Let me tell you something very personal. There were days in my life when I thought everything would fall apart, when the applause stopped, when the lights went off, when the room got quiet and the voices of doubt got loud. I felt fear, real, raw fear, and I didn't run from it. I sat with it. I asked it questions. I let it show me what I hadn't seen, my gaps, my assumptions, my fragile illusions. That fear became fuel. It turned into foresight. It told me to build when others relaxed. It told me to save when others spent. It told me to learn when others laughed. And it's because of that foresight, not my charm, not my luck, that I could walk through storms while others searched for shelter. You have that power too, but you've got to stop treating fear like a curse. It's not. It's the flashlight you never switch on. Look at the world now. Look at the chaos, the division, the anger. Everyone is afraid. But almost no one is prepared. Why? Because they waited too long. They kept telling themselves, it'll pass, it'll be fine, it's just noise. And when it wasn't, they panicked. Panic is always the child of procrastination. Preparation kills panic. You have to become your own guide. You have to look ahead and say, if this breaks, where do I go? If this stops, how do I survive? If this gets worse, what do I need now? That is not fear. That is foresight, that is intelligence, that is love in motion. Because when you prepare, you don't just protect yourself, you protect the people you love. You become the calm in their storm, and don't you dare say, I'm just one person, what can I do? Because one person who is awake can light the path for hundreds who are asleep. One person with foresight can carry the weight of 10 who are confused. History was never changed by crowds. It was always changed by the one who saw clearly when everyone else blinked. So ask yourself right now, are you using your fear or is it using you? Are you building or are you scrolling? Are you listening or are you escaping? Because escape is cheap, but it's expensive later. You'll pay for every moment you ignored your intuition, and you'll thank yourself for every moment you acted on it. Foresight isn't paranoia, it's love backed by wisdom. It's the father who saves for his child's unknown future. It's the woman who trains her mind to be still in chaos. It's the young man who chooses to learn instead of blame. It's the artist who uses silence to create meaning. These are the ones who survive and elevate. So, don't mock fear, don't push it away, hug it, shake its hand, ask it what it came to teach you, and then, with fierce grace, turn its message into a plan, because while everyone else is waiting for things to calm down, you'll already be 5 steps ahead. That's not magic, that's mastery, and it starts the moment you stop asking, "What if everything goes wrong?" and start asking, "How do I make sure I'm ready when it does?" You can build all the walls in the world, steel walls, digital walls, emotional walls, but if you don't build people, if you don't build trust, if you don't build connection, then when the ground shakes, those walls will trap you, not protect you. In times of chaos, you don't need more isolation, you need alliance. You don't need more suspicion, you need solidarity. You don't survive storms by hiding behind glass towers. You survive by standing shoulder to shoulder with the ones who won't let go when the wind starts screaming. Look around you, we are being trained to separate, divided by opinions, tribes, pixels on screens. We are being taught that independence means isolation, that being strong means being silent, that vulnerability is weakness. It's a lie, all of it, a dangerous lie. Let me tell you something raw, something people don't say enough. You can't do this alone, you're not designed to, you're not weak because you need people, you're human. This whole world, this whole system, it only works when people stand together, bleed together, rebuild together. The strongest man I ever met wasn't the one who never cried, he was the one who held someone else's hand when he could barely hold his own life together. That's strength, that's power, that's real, because in the end your money won't carry your pain, your image won't carry your grief, only love will. You want to survive national instability, don't just build your bunker, build your brotherhood, build your sisterhood, build a tribe of fire-hearted people who don't just show up for dinner, but show up for war, not war with weapons, war with loyalty, with compassion, with courage. Because when food runs out, when systems fail, when trust in the government evaporate, you'll turn to the faces that stayed, not the apps on your phone. You'll turn to the voices that lifted you when you were too broken to stand. And if you haven't built those connections by then, you'll realize the loneliness is louder than the chaos outside. I've lived in a world of light, cameras, attention, perfection, but I've also lived in silence, when the lights went off, when the crowd walked away, when the pain had no audience. And in those moments I wasn't saved by fame. I was saved by a phone call from a friend, a quiet hug, a word of truth, a reminder that I wasn't alone. That's why I'm telling you now. Not as a celebrity, but as a man who has watched empires rise and fall inside his own heart. Build your people. Forgive more quickly, speak more honestly, help more freely, because every human you love deeply is one more light in the darkness. Stop hoarding pride. Start investing in presence. Be the friend who stays after the party ends. Be the voice that speaks truth when lies are easier. Be the one who says, "I've got you," and means it. Because when the day comes that your strength runs dry, and trust me, that day comes for all of us, you'll survive not because you were the smartest or fastest, but because someone remembered you mattered. The world will keep telling you, trust no one, be a lone wolf, cut everyone off, but let me ask you, who does the lone wolf howl to when he's wounded, who holds him when the night gets too cold, who tells him he's still worthy when he's failed? You don't need an army. You just need a few people who would go through hell for you, and you need to be that person for someone else. It's not about numbers, it's about depth. 2 real ones are worth more than 200 fake ones. Let's talk straight. National instability is coming in waves. Economies will shake. Truth will be twisted. Systems will betray us. So what will keep you grounded? Your humanity. And humanity isn't just a word, it's action. It's how you treat people when they have nothing to offer. It's how you love when loving is inconvenient. It's how you show up especially when it's uncomfortable. Don't just survive, connect. Don't just build walls, build bridges. Be the reason someone believes in goodness again. Be the reason someone doesn't give up tonight. Be the reason the storm didn't win. Because what you give to others comes back tenfold, 100-fold. Not always in the way you expect, but in the moment you'll need it most. And if you ever feel like giving up on people, don't. The world is already too full of closed hearts and empty hands. Be the one who stays open. Be the one who still believes, because in the end, all the survival kits in the world can't replace the warmth of one soul who refuses to leave you behind. If your mind is weak, the world will break you before it even touches you. If your thoughts aren't guarded, it doesn't matter how much money you have, how many people you know, how big your house is, because you'll crumble from the inside, silently, slowly, tragically. And I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. I'm here to tell you the crazy truth. Your mind is your only real country, your only real government, your only real home when everything around you burns. In times of national instability, people rush to buy weapons, stock up on food, hide cash, build escape plans. But you know what nobody tells you: if your mind is a mess, even a palace will feel like a prison. And if your mind is unshakable, you could be sitting in the middle of ruins and still find peace. We're walking around with shattered thoughts, pretending to be strong. We scroll all day, drowning in other people's fears, other people's noise, opinions, anxiety, rage, and we call it staying informed. But what we're really doing is inviting chaos into the one place that should be sacred, our inner world. You want to be powerful, you want to survive what's coming, then train your mind like a soldier, train it like a saint, like a monk in the middle of madness. Build it strong, quiet, focused. Teach it to observe without absorbing. Teach it to respond without exploding. Teach it to protect your peace like it's guarding the last candle in a world of darkness. There's nothing romantic about losing your mind to the world. Nothing cool about being anxious every night, angry every morning, distracted every second. It's a crisis, and if you don't grab your mind by the collar and say, "You answer to me now," then every voice in this broken world will use you like a puppet. Let me tell you something from my own battles. There were days when I didn't know what was real. When the noise outside tried to hijack the calm inside, when the expectations, the headlines, the chaos felt louder than my own breath, and I could feel it, that slow erosion of self, like acid dripping on stone. But I made a decision. I said no more. I'm not going to let the world rent space in my head for free. I'm not going to let fear write the script of my life, so I shut off the noise. I picked up books. I turned to silence like it was my best friend. I trained my focus like it was a muscle, and I reminded myself daily, the mind is a wild horse. It will run mad unless you learn to ride it. You don't have to meditate on a mountain. You just need to build awareness. You need to choose your thoughts the way a warrior chooses his weapons. You don't take every emotion seriously. You question it. You ask, is this mine, or was it planted here by a world gone mad? If you don't filter what you let in, you'll drown in things that don't even belong to you. People project their fears, their agendas, their panic, and you carry it like it's truth, and over time that weight becomes unbearable. And then you break, not because of what happened, but because you weren't ready for it. So prepare, train, strengthen your mind like a fortress. Wake up every day and ask, what am I allowing into my temple today? What energy am I feeding my soul? Because your thoughts create your reality, and your reality becomes your future. You want to be invincible, then start by becoming invisible to chaos, not blind, not ignorant, but unmoved, like a rock in a flood. Like the eye in the storm, you see it all, you feel it, but it doesn't own you. That's power, that's not weakness, that's divine discipline, and don't tell me you can't do it. Don't tell me your mind is too wild, too broken, too scattered. You are not broken, you are untrained, and that's different. You can reclaim yourself, you can rewire your brain, you can turn fear into focus, rage into resilience, confusion into clarity, but you've got to fight for it. Every day, especially when no one's watching, especially when your world feels like it's on fire, because those are the moments that define you, not when everything's perfect, but when everything's hell and you still choose peace. And let me be real with you. This isn't about becoming some spiritual guru or pretending life is always beautiful. This is about survival with soul. This is about winning with dignity, because if the system collapses, if the power goes out, if the headlines go dark, what's left? You, your mind, your breath, your will, and if that's not strong, nothing else matters. We are not meant to be machines reacting to every notification, every rumor, every disaster. We are meant to be conscious creators, choosing our response, guarding our thoughts, living with intention. So I'm asking you, no, I'm challenging you. Train your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. Be ruthless about what you consume. Be fierce in your silence. Be loving, yes, but don't be soft in the face of chaos. Build your mind into a fortress so solid that when the world knocks it echoes back with, "You can't break me. I've already rebuilt myself 100 times." You are not weak for struggling. You are human. But you are also capable of incredible strength. Strength that starts not in your fists, but in your focus. In a world addicted to stuff, in a culture that worships accumulation, let me tell you something brutal. Your things won't save you. Your shelves, your gadgets, your so-called emergency kits, they mean nothing if your mind is empty and your instincts are asleep. You want to survive a collapsing world, don't just chase resources, be resourceful. Because here's the truth nobody wants to admit. The system isn't just unstable, it's fragile. One shake, one bad decision, one spark, and it all goes dark. And when that happens, the ones who make it aren't the ones with the most, but the ones who can do the most with what they have. You could have food stacked for a year, but if you don't know how to stretch it, preserve it, share it wisely, you'll run out fast. You could have money, but if you can't adapt, can't think fast, can't hustle with dignity, you'll burn through that money in days. You could have power, but if you lose your humanity in the process, you'll become a ghost before death even touches you. So I say it loud and clear. Learn to adapt, learn to create, learn to think in crazy ways when life gets crazier. Become the person who doesn't freeze in chaos, but starts moving like fire through the forest, not destroying, but awakening, not panicking, but performing. We're being conditioned to be dependent on systems, on apps, on comforts, and we're forgetting how powerful we really are. We're forgetting that human beings were made to survive in deserts, to build with nothing, to rise from ashes. We've done it for thousands of years. Why are we suddenly acting so helpless? The internet goes out for 2 hours and we lose our minds. The bank app crashes and we think it's the end. What happened to instinct? What happened to real learning? What happened to figuring things out without needing a tutorial for every damn breath? You have to break out of the digital cage. You have to reconnect with your raw intelligence, because that's what resourcefulness is, not knowing everything, but figuring out anything. Not being ready for every scenario, but being brave enough to improvise when it matters.